Welcome to Your Purpose, Your Power, a journey to authenticity. Today, we have a guest with us today from podmatch.com. Now, many of you may remember this program under the name of Avoid the Maze, and we changed that when we teamed up with Cle13 News. The concept behind our podcast is to be real, to be authentic, to be vulnerable. And I guarantee you there's going to be a lot of that going on today. Those of you who follow me regularly know my story is raw, and I'm hoping that Samantha has some little tidbits that are going to make it a little less that way. Samantha Kane, Roots, Wings, Wellness. Well, that's a mouthful. Um,
It is. It is.
And I love something that you have in your bio. You said you believe when we share our personal gifts, it produces a higher impact for all humanity. And wow, that is the connection that I have with you because I have people who say to me over and over again, why do you keep repeating your story? Why do you keep sharing it? And it's because number one, it helps me. But number two, when you ask those questions, it makes me think as well. And then when you tell me your story, my gosh, I find that I connect with so many people today because there's one little tidbit that we all have in common. So, Samantha, how did you get to Roots Wings Wellness?
Mhm. Thank you so much for having me here, firstly. And I agree with you, so I'll get into that in a second. But Roots Swings Wellness came about because I had done so many prior jobs. I had landed myself in a lot of different areas. I was a teacher, I was in mortgage, I was in a lot of corporate jobs. And throughout all of that, I loved doing everything that I did. I always gave my best foot forward, but I knew that there was a higher place for me to be for me, not just in the job itself, but more higher aligned for myself personally. And when I heard that there was such a thing as a health coach and a life coach, I just found this community and I dove right in and got my certification as quick as I could. And then I created the business. It's been almost 10 years now of Roots Wings Wellness. It is a mouthful, I agree. Um, but Roots and Wings came from the feeling of being grounded and knowing that that's such an important place to allow ourselves to have some footing. Also, I'm obsessed with trees. Obsessed. Ask my daughter. She's like, "Mom, you're stopping again to take a picture of another tree?" Yes, yes, I am. So that's the roots, part of it. And that can be looked at in so many ways, literally and then spiritually, like where we came from, the roots of our family, our heritage, our ancestry, people that we're tied with from the past, and then also our own roots that we grow in our life.
Sure.
And then um, and then wellness. I mean, I probably could have called it roots well-being or something like that because for me, it's really the entirety, the whole makeup of who we are. And it starts with the root of where you came from. One of my favorite expressions is, um, now that I'm forgetting it, um, oh gosh, feet on the ground, head in the clouds. It encapsulates this exact ideal of being a little bit grounded, but also being light enough in your heart and in your soul and being connected to what is out there that we don't even know a tiny percentage because we can't see everything out there. So it's that whole world, it's our own world, and it's our connection to both the internal and the external. And it just brings me such joy to bring my own experience, my own wisdom, and then, like you, be fascinated listening to other people's stories because I'm a lifelong learner. I mean, being a teacher, yes, I taught, but I also learned simultaneously.
Sure.
And that was such a beautiful part of my experience and continues to be because I'm still a teacher of sorts, though professionally we can call it a coach by certification standards. But that's why I changed my title to conscious guide because I prefer to be looked at like a mentor or a facilitator of organizing people's well-being for themselves.
Well, and I think that's what a true coach is. And if you're working with somebody who is not like that, I've had clients who have come to me and basically have said, well, just tell me what to do. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. And my answer always is, you're doing what you need to do. You may need to refine it. You may need to pivot a little bit, but it's not up to me to tell you how to live your life. Um, and I don't want to be the parent, okay? Um, and teachers sometimes have that um, aura of being the parent, the know-all, rather than the mentor. Um, and I think it's important that, I love how you said, our feet are established on the ground, but we can still feel everything else around us if we choose to. Um, and I say it over and over again. I spent probably the first 60 years of my life, my feet were planted on the ground, and I wore blinders because I didn't want to be distracted. And not being distracted, caused me both physical and emotional pain. And when I woke up one morning and realized it, it was like, there's got to be more to this life. I loved my husband, I loved my kids, loved my friends, but something was missing. And I took one course, and that's all it took for somebody to say, can you feel what's around you? And it was like, well, I don't see it. How can I feel it?
Yeah.
And then it was, oh, yeah, I can feel that. And I'm feeling it in my head. I'm feeling it in my stomach. Oh, I'm feeling it in my feet. So, what are some of the things that you do with your clients? Because many of us come into coaching and we don't know what to expect. And we're almost afraid because are you going to tell me again that I'm living my life wrong?
Yeah. Yeah, I see that. And I get that too. But usually for me, in my experience, it hasn't been in spoken word with that specific relaying of words. It's more of I don't want to quite say bypassing exactly, but it's like a form of it. Because what it is people not wanting to face themselves. And that's what that fear is. And that's why we self-sabotage all the time. I mean, all of us do it. You don't have to be like, it's coaches don't get a pass on it either. I mean, we're all human. So, and this is how I am able to help my clients is because I pull from my own past experiences or my current. We still have struggles. We don't come as these like perfect beings with angelic wings and this aura and okay, let me help you, my child. I mean, it's like we might simultaneously be learning and going through things with our clients too. I always am. So they're teachable moments for me as well. But that's the thing. It's like this symbiotic dance. It's a relational transaction of energy. It's learning from each other. And that's why I've loved doing these one-on-ones for years because there's different ways to coach people. And some people do group or some people do corporate. For me, it's these one-on-one experiences. I get to refine a personalized experience for them and curate to their needs and also go at their own pace. because you can take a course, which I think are great because maybe you have wacky business hours or maybe you're a night owl and maybe you prefer to do things from 11 to 12 at night or whatever your case is. There are ways to do things, but the personal experience and the personal touch, there's nothing like that. Even if you don't hire someone, just knowing that you can be with a friend, take a walk with them, and you're just walking together and venting. It's an interesting visual I just got, but when two dogs are meeting, for instance, you don't want them to just meet in one of their homes. The best thing you can possibly do, the first thing is be outdoors, be in nature, and have both parties with their dogs on a leash walking side by side. And that's the visual. That's kind of what it is. You're walking side by side, feeling each other's energy, being in nature, letting the outside senses overtake everything. Because essentially, when a client comes to a coach or just anybody needs help or needs to vent, you're in your brain.
Yes.
You're cycling through things. You're overwhelmed or you're feeling stuck, and it's stagnant energy that just needs movement. So when you have a friend or a trusted advisor of some sort that you're paying or not paying, whoever it is, that's a safe space for you, in that container, feeling like that visual of walking hand in hand or walking side by side with someone is such a great experience and way to grow because we can't grow unless it is that safe space. So that's what I provide for people is that feeling first. But I have to feel my way around the nuances and inner workings of how each of them work. And it's all different because we all have different personalities. So it's not a one size fits all situation like a lot of coaches will do, but that's not my flow. That's not my kind of way of doing things.
Absolutely. It's interesting. I connected with a high school friend. Um, we we had a conversation 2 days ago. Now, I lived in Minneapolis for 4 years, went to high school there. So when I finished high school, my family moved away. So a lot of those people that I went to high school with, we basically lost contact. They went to college, I went to different colleges. But Facebook brought a lot of us back together. And 9 years ago, when my mother was dying and I was staying with her, this one person connected with me. And it was basically that we were long, virtually taking walks together every couple days. Um, and at that point, we weren't on the phone with each other, it was in text. But I could feel her next to me. I could feel the comfort, even more so than some of the people who actually came to visit me at my mother's house. Um, Last week, she contacted me because she saw what I was going through personally. And she said, I was there when your mom died. I can be there for you now if you'd like.
Mm.
First, my reaction was, yeah, I don't know if I'm ready for this. But I finally said, okay. I thought, let's try it. And it was, again, like we had just taken a walk the day before. Um, there's something about allowing yourself that freedom to engage with another person. And in our society, too many of us, we're sitting behind the computer, we're texting, um, we are sending cryptic voicemails. We're not having the conversations that we really need to to grow. And that's what it sounds like you're helping your clients who are sort of in that stuck position that I'm doing the same thing over and over again. I'm I'm happy, but I'm not happy.
Yeah.
How do I live my life more authentically? So in your sessions, some coaches actually give homework. Some coaches, it's just a talk relationship. Give us an idea of what I would expect if I came to you.
Sure. So what I do is I do give homework, but I call it action steps. And I check in they're usually my experience has been phone calls. I've done some video chats, but a lot of people just prefer phone calls. I don't know. That's just been what it's been with me. Um, but then I will go through about a 45-minute to an hour phone call with someone once a week. And then at the end of it, I will give them some action steps. And again, depending on what they have space for, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, psychically, I will assign maybe even just one thing. And I tweak it all the time, and as we're going through the conversation, I'm like bookmarking in my brain, okay, they can't handle more than one thing or nothing. And we're just going to continue work on the prior stuff.
Sure.
So it really just depends. But, it's all kinds of tools that us coaches give and again in a curated way. There are some people that are like, give it to me. And and then it's like five things. And then I immediately send them an email and it's got all the organized stuff in there for them. And it's in a way where they don't have to think about what to do. I'm giving them the what to do, but we're working on the why we're doing it. That's the whole thing. That's what the show is for them, for themselves. And we don't go any farther than they can handle, but that's something for me to decipher and decode as we go. I feel it energetically, um, just as much as I do from their words verbally telling me what they can handle.
And sometimes we verbally say things that somebody else can pick up that, no, I don't think you're really quite there. And instead of calling you out on it, just finding a way to, reconstruct that same conversation.
Yeah.
It's interesting. My oldest son has been working with me the last couple of weeks since I lost my husband. And it's interesting. He's working like a coach, and I picked up on it this past weekend. Um, it was, these are some of the things that we need to do. Now, how does it feel to you? Um, Certain things he just took over because he saw it on my face. No, I'm not ready for that. Um, but he's been guiding me. And last night, and typically before my husband passed, we would talk every couple weeks. He's a busy attorney. He's got a very busy life and on top of it, things. And so I was fine with every couple weeks catching up with him, whatever. And now it has changed. But the dynamic has changed, but it's changed in a good way. It's changed in a way that I'm not waiting for that phone call in 2 weeks to fill him in on everything. And he called last night, and I really had nothing to say. And I felt very comfortable to say to him, you know, thanks for calling. I think I'm going to go ride my stationary bike if you don't mind. And it was like, oh, okay. Um, and that's what a good coach does. A good coach hears you um, and can tell when you're fooling yourself. And I know I've done a lot of that. And I've had coaches call me out on it, even the ones that I'm interviewing on my podcast. So, give me an example of a task that you would give somebody. So, let's say somebody um, they feel like they're just putting too much time into their business, not getting something out of it. Um, it's easy to tell them to pull back, but none of us would even know what that actually means.
We'd be working on time management and we'd be looking at everything because I like to look at things holistically. So that really is all the connected parts and pieces. And when we look at things like a puzzle, they're all going to fit a certain way. And sometimes, well, not sometimes, most of the time, people are trying to fit a square peg in a round hole or vice versa, right? And so I kind of look at it with my little, what do you call those when you're looking at a gem?
Yep.
Um, but I ask the questions. I try to navigate the nuances of why they're doing things the way they're doing. And then we might need to throw something out that they're doing. They might be doing it every day. It might just be one thing, or it might be a bunch of things. And that's the thing. You never know until you really find out the nitty gritty of what someone's day to day looks like. Because we go through life so unconsciously that we don't even notice what we're doing. You know,
Oh,
maybe we know we've always been a late person, but it's just how we roll. So it's what we do. And then we don't really think about it anymore. Everybody in our lives knows this. Oh, she's always late. She'll be here in another 20 minutes, whatever. That's just how it is. But it's bringing awareness to who we're being when we're doing all the things that we're doing. So sometimes it's not even the what, it's just how we're being or who we're being. And those are the things that I take a fine tooth comb and I just look at every little thing. And so for me, it's my job to just ask the direct questions that will lead us to the answers so that I have a viewing of what's happening in that person's life.
sure.
And a lot of times they know what I'm talking about because um, they have some awareness to it and they're just shoving it under the rug and just don't want to deal with it, or haven't wanted to, but now they do. Or the opposite, they have no clue. I didn't even realize I was doing that. Wow. Wow, I've gotten that too. Wow. I really didn't even notice. Wow. Okay. You're so right.
Yeah.
I am doing that. So, you get all across the board and then you work with it accordingly. But time management is a big one. So some people might just be looking for weight loss, or weight management or something like that. Or I'm always stressed out. I have anxiety. And they think that's why they're coming to me. But
Sure.
then as I unravel with them all the ways that they're being and who they're being in those moments, we start to uncover that it doesn't even have much to do with why you came to me. That's a byproduct of it. That's a symptom. We're looking at what you're doing that's leading up to those things. And now we can work on that. And then naturally, organically, we're going to fix the thing that you thought you wanted fixed.
So it's interesting. This in the past 4 months, um, I lost my brother suddenly, and I lost my husband suddenly. And I'm the doer, and I know that. Okay, something's got to get done. I don't even volunteer. I just do it. I just assume that it's my responsibility. And so um, last week, I just said to one of my friends, I am just so exhausted. I'm tired of doing. And she said, I wish I was there to pat you on the back because you're finally admitting something. And it was like that light bulb went off. Oh my God, nobody's asked me to do all this. I have just jumped in and, you know, trying to help my sister in law, trying to help my niece, trying to help my oldest brother. And none of them are around me. So I'm doing this all virtually. And I'm not keeping a schedule. I'm just doing. So an idea comes to me, I just do it. And when this person brought it up, it was like, oh my. And she said, have you always been like that? Well, that's how I was in corporate America. I may have had things on my calendar, but I was constantly doing other things in between
Mhm.
because things had to get done. And stupid assumption on my part, because it was stupid, that nobody else would do it if I didn't do it. Um, so in the past week, I'm finding that I'm scoping out a good portion of my day. And I've started simpler. Instead of putting, I'm going to do 4 podcasts today and work with 2 clients today and write my blog today and whatever, it's, I'm going to do a show a day right now because compared to what I was doing, that's good, good for me. Um, and I'm also giving myself that permission that we talked about before we went on air that if it's not right, I have that opportunity to change my schedule.
Yes.
That when you give yourself that grace, that anxiety that you claim that you've been carrying around for so long, it starts to dissipate. And here I've been helping clients for the last 5 years. I'm not even following my own advice. It took somebody to use that word. And truthfully, I don't like being called a doer because I would like somebody to do something for me. And that's been happening this past week.
Yeah. I'm so glad that you know. And first of all, I'm so sorry for your losses. My heart goes out to you, and you being here is a testament to who you are, and it's a branch of your doing,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
And I think you'll know because you seem to be an extremely wise lady who will know when it's time to push back or pull up or which way to go. It's an ebb and flow of what your needs are, and they can change. They might change a lot. They might
Yeah.
change a little, but whatever it is, you'll feel it out. You seem like now that you have this awareness and it's been brought to light, it's been highlighted, and perhaps your family that is now on the other side wants you to know these things. And so they are helping you highlight. These things are now spotlighted to where you can decide what to do with them.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
it's good. This is all good stuff for you for sure. It's and I know we just met each other, but I'm proud of you
Thank you.
because when you figure out the inner workings of yourself, it's kind of a exciting thing because you get to go, okay, well, now what am I gonna do with this? And it doesn't mean we have to, road runner legs, like get get going on something right away immediately, but it's like, okay. Now I have this path ahead of me, this space that I'm creating, and I get to create for myself. I get to shift gears. I get to do something differently. And I I get to do this. This is part of like a peace offering, if you will. It's like a gift when you know that you're able to shift and do something else for yourself. It's an extremely blessed part of life to allow yourself, like you say, to create a change where change is needed.
Well, as humans, we have choices that we can make. And I've heard too many times, um, and I'm sure I said it myself, well, I don't have a choice. I have to do this. Okay. I can't change because I have people who depend on me. In fact, I once heard my mother, um, she very rarely complained, but one day she was complaining about the fact that if I don't call my nieces and nephews, I don't hear from them. And I said to her, well, how often do you call? And she gave me something that to me was almost outrageous for her calling her adult nieces and nephews who had careers and families and everything. And I looked at her and I said, do they really have time to talk to you every day? And she had this list, I would call this one at 9 o'clock and this one 11 o'clock. And I said, and you really have things to say to them every day? And all of a sudden she looked at me and she goes, no, but I'm the only aunt around. And so I thought I was supposed to do this. And I said, and what would you like to do? And first was, I don't know. I can't change. I've been doing this for years. And then all of a sudden I found out that she wasn't calling every single day. And she was found other things to do. And so sometimes that inner voice tells us this is who you're supposed to be. But sometimes we have to ask that inner voice, really? Who said so? And
I
that's
like
what
that.
that's what happens in coaching. It's like, well, I do this all the time because, and then you can pick it apart and start asking the right questions to the client as
Yeah.
to why.
I agree with everything you said. And also to add to that, it's that it takes time for us to get into something else, to shift to a different space, especially when we've been doing something that we know how to do, or it just feels like it's automated or on autopilot, any kind of habit that we do, and to get it into a different space. There's different ways to do things, and it depends on your personality. I mean, a lot of people quit things and they just quit.
Right.
And then there's other people that are more methodical. Okay, I'm gonna do this. And then they keep checking in with themselves. All right, next week, whatever. So everybody's got their different kind of scheduling with it when they schedule themselves in, which is kind of ironic and funny if you think about it. It's like scheduling your life for
Right.
yourself. I mean, it's really all for you anyway. Um, but we do tend to put things off and make excuses and self-sabotage and listen to other people who we know are right, but we don't want to hear it. And then we have to realize it for ourselves. It's like a little conundrum of being human. We can hear it 1,000 times from everybody we know, but it's not until we come up with it ourselves and pretend we haven't heard it from everyone else that, oh, you know what I was thinking? I really need, and then other people are rolling their eyes and they're going, okay, forget it. Anyway, what is this thing? What's this new thing? Um, but we do have to bring humor to it a little bit and lighten it up because when we look at things so seriously, it makes it very hard to make that change happen.
Absolutely.
It,
Absolutely.
it really does. So, any way you look at it, that's kind of like what I like to do in my coaching is I just want to keep things lighthearted and really gentle and easy at the same time, like you were talking about being called out earlier. I do call out my clients plenty. It happens, but I do it with compassion and gently and kindly, and I do it in a way that is not going to break them,
Sure.
but it's going to make them feel like they're working toward a breakthrough.
Absolutely.
Because I like to look at things as not so much a breakdown, but we're breaking through something. I love the word through. I love a play on words and I'm a little bit of a wordsmith. But the word through tells us it brings us ease and comfort that we're going through something. It's not a sentence period.
Right.
It's we are, or it's a semicolon, if you will, or a comma, but it's through. We're going to find a way. Everything will be okay. These kinds of things help us continue and move through stagnancy. When people say the word stuck, you feel it, right? It's one of
Oh,
those words you like
yep,
feel it. I don't even like to use that word. If I can, I will avoid that word as much as possible because you feel it, stagnancy, you feel it. But when you start to bring words into your life that you want to connect with, higher self, potential, source energy, higher energy, consciousness, conscious living, all these things, well being, things that you want to connect yourself with, that's going to help then the latter where you're setting yourself aside in a box. I'm this, I'm a doer. No, you're Karen, you're a boss, you're a mom, you're a wife, you're a sister, you're all these things. You're a friend, you're a guide, you're a coach, like you're a million things. And you're a human and you come from God knows where. We don't.
right.
But so when you get yourself out of that box, you remind yourself, wow, I am connected to so many things. I am so powerful. And then from this place, that's where we get to have fun and we get to play and we get to create. We don't need to feel like this. We get to feel like this.
So, how can my listeners find you and maybe engage in coaching with you?
Sure. So I have a website. It's rootswingswellness.com. And I also have my Instagram page at Roots Wings Wellness. And I offer a free guide through my website and a free call.
Okay. Well, free is always great, but I also like to tell potential clients that free is usually the way you find out about something.
Yeah.
Now, when it's really important, we have to be invested in it in some way.
Hmm.
Um, and I've had some potential clients call me and say, why aren't your services free? Well, I have a lot of free things like you do out on the website that people can read. I can direct them to things, but my training, the same as your training, has brought us to a place where we're going to assist you, guide you, mentor you, um, and you need to invest something into that practice so that you get something out of it. Because I know when somebody gives me something for free, it's so exciting in the beginning. And a lot of times after that, it's meaningless. So
Yeah,
just
that's
my
true.
2 cents.
Absolutely. And I appreciate that thought. And that is true. And that's why the buck doesn't stop there or the no bucks.
Yeah,
Because yes, it does cost, but that's for people to understand within themselves that if they value their lives, if their the well-being in their lives, then they need to value where they put their money. Do
exactly.
you need another um, piece of material, another object? Do you need that purse? Do you need the new shoes? Or do you need help running through something that is driving you into the ground or ruining your family or not getting you to a happier place where you're spinning your wheels? Do you need someone to talk to that's there professionally? Those are things that you pay for. I mean, this is why people pay therapists, but unlike therapy, we work a little bit differently. There's a different kind of language, and um, it's interesting because the people that I've worked with have said this is like therapy, but so different and better. No diss to therapists in the world, but it's just different because it's so much more personalized. There's not a blanket statement. I don't use titles and I don't like to place labels on people because I think that's very limiting. And in the coaching business, we work with limitlessness.
Right.
There's expansion that we're trying to tap into. We're not trying to tap deeper into the void, which is labeling and you are this and let's work there. It's expansion. So that's the difference.
Love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Samantha. I appreciate it. I'm feeling lighter now than I did when we first started, which is, something that I've needed. And again, for those of you who have been following me, um, my story is out there on our website, and I blog every single day, so I don't have to repeat it all here. But Samantha gave me some tips that are going to help me continue to move forward. And we will have all your information in the show notes. So, no excuse to any of you listening when you say, I couldn't find Samantha Kane. Yes, you can. Just go to the show notes for today's show.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
You're such a lovely person. I wish you all the best.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Have a good day. Bye
You
bye.
too.